wrong 'un. How are you? Let me just let's get this proper. Evening, yeah, wrong 'un. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Welcome to the Church of What's Happening. Remember, this is not a show; it is a mission, darling. So, as ever, before I get into the parish notes this evening, just want to say a big thank you to Ghetto Defendant for last night. Not easy. It is not easy. And Ghetto Defendant, I thought, was wonderful. Plenty of questions which we weren't able to address in the chat as such, simply because there was not enough time, and the chat was so busy last night that we couldn't keep up with it. So, over the next couple of days, we may try and answer some of your questions from last night. But as I say, the chat was very busy last night. And I know that kind of subject is quite dry. I mean, tonight we're going to showbiz it up, darling. And we're going to talk about some stuff. And from the pulpit of truth, I've had confirmation today that what I've been telling you for 3 years and on the radio for 36 years on the phone is correct. What am I talking about? We'll talk about that during the live tonight. So welcome to the body of the Kirk. Make sure you have your Battenberg, your Piles ring, and a little snifter of the altar wine, because it's most welcome on a rather Betty sort of evening. That's Betty Swallocks, if you don't know what I'm talking about. Spoonerisms, sir. So welcome to the body of the Kirk. Neil Cunningham's in first. Good evening, Adrian, and everyone in the congregation. Thank you. And so I hope the Ghetto Defendant's in tonight. He normally is for most of the lives, so I can actually thank him personally once he's in the body of the Kirk this evening. Neil Cunningham, good evening, Adrian, and everyone in the congregation. The more I look into it, the more convinced I am Lucy Letby is the victim of a serious miscarriage of justice. Too much just doesn't sit right. I agree with you, Neil. I agree, but it's that. It's the machinations of the legal profession and the judiciary that need to take care of business. I do hope there's no political will messed up in that, but I do wish Lucy well, and she'll get out soon. Les Griffiths, as I understand it, 3 senior managers are being investigated. I think weren't they arrested? So technically, it's sub judice, but I haven't seen any charges levelled. So maybe it's just being PR managed. Neil says, there were some major issues around safety on the neonatal unit. Issues that Lucy herself raised, and now the prosecution's main witness has changed his opinion on the death of baby C. Forgive the cough tonight. I don't know whether I know there's kind of a flu-y thing going around because people around me have had it, and the flu-y thing, and it's just sitting in on my chair. Oh, comedy opening, young sir. Reverend, what are you talking about? Sister Mary sitting in your chest? No, thankfully. She's a ton weight, said a spokesperson. So the chest is a little tight this evening. It may need some Vicks rubbing into it. I'm not getting my man boobs out for anybody. The Reverend's man boobs, bloody hell. Take a picture of that and put it on the fireplace. That'll keep the kids away from the fire. So Les and Neil are having a bit of a chat about Lucy. Baby C had air in the stomach 41 hours before the death, and Lucy wasn't even on shift that day. It's all beginning to look like Lucy deserves a fresh trial. Thank you, Neil. Keep your eyes on that, because we would, I mean, obviously I'm going to do exactly the same, but you always seem to get a little extra information from your research, so it's always very, very welcome here. Paulie Galdieri, good evening, Adrian. Yeah, utter wrong. I hope you've had a good day. It's been a busy one today, as I'm sure everyone has. It's a school day, so people will be at work, other than the slackers who won't be at work. Do hope you weren't in the garden today. I mean, it was just Bernie kind of day today. Too hot, and tomorrow, oh dear Lord, I mean, I thought, it's going to be too hot Tuesday night. I'm not going to be able to do a live. And I thought, I had a word with myself. I was like, what are you? Yeah, wrong. And yes, you are going to do a live. Even if you could give the congregation a paddle so they can kayak up the nick of my backside. It'll be so sweaty tomorrow. So welcome to the body of the cook, everyone that's getting their feet under the table. Des Ashton, hello everyone. It's a warm day today, so sermon in the park. I hope with some Pim's #1 cup and a cucumber boudoir sandwich before a slice of a slightly chilled Battenberg. Yeah, Des, I was hoping you were going to be in the chat tonight. What's that big thing that's hurtling towards Earth that nobody wants to talk about now because it's scaring the bejesus out of them? Wasn't it 3i something or other, Des? Because we're going to talk about it tonight, and I did think of you while I was making me notes. Talk 69, evening, Adrian, and all you utter wrong'uns. The old Bovril was Alan Blindfold. Ricky Jones' court appearance today kept very quiet. I thought that was last week, and it had been delayed until October, or was it April next year? Been delayed for 10 months. I might have gotten it wrong. Lord Stiff Upper Lip, VIP. Paulie Galtieri, hello sir, what are you doing here? He's always here, Lord Stiff Upper Lip, VIP. Stuart, happy birthday for yesterday. Hope you had a lovely day with your family. I completely understand that if it's your birthday, you don't want to be sitting here listening to me witter on. But happy birthday for yesterday. It was a busy old live last night. I just hope you didn't mind me... bloody hell. Not kind of, singing and dancing and wishing you a vocal happy birthday. Cuban Pete, no, Neil Cunningham. Thank you, Adrian. I've got more than a close eye on the Lucy Letby case. Anything I hear will be shared, legal stuff permitting. Brilliant, Neil. Thank you for that. Alan Blindfold, no, today. Oh, bagger. Let's have a look, see what we get in the press tomorrow. I doubt we'll get anything, but it has been delayed, Alan. I'm sure it has. Terry Wookfit, not kept quiet. It's in papers. Was prosecution's opening today is all. Do you know? It's Monday today. So something happened on Friday or Saturday that said the case was being delayed. But, I can always be corrected. Les Griffiths. Rumours starting to circulate that a new podcaster may soon be amongst us. The lovely Megan. What? She was doing a podcast before. Like, was that MM, as in, Ginger Bollocks' other half. Because, just as a comment, Les, the last podcast she didn't do. She just sat there, meh, 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 meh. She wasn't even with anybody. You can tell as a professional when somebody's recording something and there's not anybody else in the room, to be fair. In my professional experience of nearly 50 years broadcasting, I didn't... I see you, it's Meghan Markle. Markle. Harry's handler, brilliant. Orchidia. What Rollins says Orchidia. So she obviously had her team record her bits and then go and record some bits with somebody else and then edit those bits in. That's why she kept not realizing that one breath questions and the interaction with the interviewee. So Les Griffiths, no, she's reportedly going to do it full time. What? Sail yachts? Simon Cartwright, welcome, young sir. Evening, sir. Cannot believe I found a spare hour to sit down and tune in. Sounding fab. Oh yeah, smooth talking divil. Simon is one of the gentlemen of showbiz, and as far as I'm concerned, in my view, is just the world's foremost expert on Bob Monkhouse. And hopefully I will be able to see you, Simon, on stage at some point and be honoured to do so. So if you've got a night off, Simon, enjoy it, because I know you're busy. Albert Metcalf. Hello, you lot. Hello, Albert. Welcome. I'm sure you want to call yourself Albert Metcalf, because that's your real name. I prefer Albert Tatlock. Can you remember Half Man, Half Biscuit doing songs about Albert Tatlock from Coronation Street? Rowing boats, yacht days are behind us, says Les. Right. We're just doing parish notes, welcoming everybody to the body of the Kirk, and welcoming everyone to the body of the Kirk until my hibiscus cools down. If you notice, I am looking downwards and I'm looking at my hibiscus. You're wrong, and you didn't see my lips move. Andrew James, asteroid YR4 has over a 3% chance hitting Earth. It could hit anything along the equator line. No, it's not. Hang on. Where's Des? I'll wait for Des because it was 3I something or other, and it was. Bad Wolf Project's struggling today. Bernie burnt 66 degrees at 8:15 here. Bloody hell! I mean, I know that I went out to the car earlier, which was in direct sunlight, and it was 38 degrees according to the car. I mean, I never believe a word that comes out of that car's mouth or exhaust. So it was just because it was in direct sunlight, I'm sure. Des must be waiting until we get into... I'm sure he'll tell me in just a little while. Any chance it might land on Davos next February? No. What's the date of Davos? The World Economic Forum next year? I think it's the end of January. Be kind of last week in January. Angelic Inspirations. Stuart, I was going to ask about your hangover. Oh, he's made of sterling stuff. Angelic Inspirations is young Stuart. I'm sure he might have a small hangover, but we in the body of the Kirk are real men. We can handle our drink. Both hands. We stay balanced. Oh, dear Lord. Amber Nectar. So welcome to everyone. Des Ashton, Adrian. How are you, mate? It's 3i Atlas CPA, 19th of December 2025. Is that when it's going to... what's CPA? Is that when it's going to go boom? But haven't we got gravity here? So gravity will see you through. So it'll kind of redirect 3i Atlas. Because I am going to talk about it tonight. Because I've just looked at the stats and it's like, holy Jesus! It's big. It's like 7 miles wide. No, Adrian. No. You're getting sued. No. TMG, evening, Adrian, and evening all. One bloody choir boys has stolen me hubcaps. Must be from Liverpool. Why do they make tea with like a tampon string attached to it? No idea. No, just leave that. Closest point of approach. Oh, I say, young Des. Closest point of approach, December 25. So, end of the year. Just in time for American independence, 250th in 2026. Gravity would pull in, not throw it away. No, young Lord Wuckfit. I mean, it will pull it towards us and then ping it away. Because it's not gonna break through our atmosphere. That's why the whomever decided the universe was going to look like this decided that we'll stick all the planets like that. You know that on the 10th, did you see all 6 planets in alignment? Hang on, last night, did you not see all 6? Oh, blimey, you should have gone out, man. It's the perfect time of year. No clouds. They're not seeding the sky yet. It was very blue and streaky white things on it. So hopefully you should be able to see the 6 planets. Maybe I'll kind of do something tomorrow, but the 6 planets, 6 of our planets in our solar system that are you can see them in a row in the night sky once it gets dark. Look firmament. Ask Hillary. Oh, I say Hillary. Right, I need some more biscuits, and then we're going to crack on because I am the Ranty Rev, the Reverend Alan to me and you from 7:30 until whatever time we finish of an evening, Sunday through Wednesday. This is not a show. This is a mission. This is live 216. 216 hundreds of hours, over 500 hours of live broadcasting on YouTube on the Theatre of the Mind. So, hang on. Lord Wookfit is commenting. You realise there have been extinction events in the past caused by impacts from non-terrestrial objects. Oh, aye, go on. You'll be talking about the Russian thingy or Siberian thingy that flattened all the trees and nobody knows or knew what did it. But there haven't been extinction events. I mean, not in my recent memory. And I used to, as a young boy in the 70s, I used to watch everything relating to weird and odd stuff. I see you says your thumbnail may attract the religious types, but they don't get past the first 5 minutes. Look, I don't care. If the Catholics can get the Nazis out of Germany via Italy into South America, well, then the gloves are off, innit, chief paedophile? Not I see you. I mean, like the Pope, who's gone underground. He's under the basilica going, what did I say yes to? Oh, bagger me. Oi, get off. Quiet, boys. Rusty's Roaming's evening all. Sorry I'm late. I do have a letter from your mum. Brilliant. Does it say that your gym kit's in the washing? Rusty's Roaming's. Top of 69 says it's the aliens. It's the aliens. Have you ever watched Ancient Aliens? I think it's up to season 14. And when I first started watching that, it was like, oh dear, is it really? It could be the aliens. And now it's just like, oh, it's not the aliens. It's just people with great imaginations. Terry Wookfit says, an extinction event ends most life on Earth. Look at Chiksek. The Yucatan crater. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, Lord Wookfit, because I can't. Because I'm a bit shite at that. But I wanted to steer you here because it's interesting. 7:30. There's only a certain amount of people come to the body of the Kirk at 7:30. When it was 8 o'clock, it takes about half an hour for people to go, oh, hey, the rev's on. The anti-rev's on. We'll go and have a watch of this. Because it might be interesting. It will be interesting tonight. Wait till you hear what I'm going to say. Les Griffiths, aliens walk amongst us. See Ed Millipede, Orchidia. That's them dirty aliens. Lord Wookfit says it was 66 million years ago, the impact. I wasn't around, Lord Wookfit. You might have been, because that's about your age. Well, Yucatan. Oh, who used Yucatan in their song? Louise Sampson says, sorry for being late. Where's your note, Louise? Has your mum written one? There's others saying, sorry, Rev, I'm a little late this evening. So you have to bring a note from Mummy. If you're ever late, if you're not here, bob on for 7:30 or before. We need evidence. We need paper written evidence. Orchidia, Ian Jury. Oh, was it really? I do love Ian Jury. I do. He's one of my heroes, genuinely. Des Ashton says, smash them likes, you wrong uns. Yeah, bloody hell. Hard audience tonight. So smash them on the way in. You can wipe your feet before you come into the body of the Kirk because, well, we need to keep it clean. Sister Mary is not here this evening. I'm not quite sure where she's going. She said she was going out on date night. I said to her, who are you going out on date night with? She said, I'm not telling you, but there's a cucumber missing from the patch. Oh, Louise Sampson. I do apologise. Theo Bodville says, perhaps the Vatican could get Starmer out of England, then lose him somewhere in Venezuela. One, I'm going to talk about Venezuela in a second. Two, not even the Catholic Church would touch Starmer. He's too toxic. Sister Mary's at the bingo. Well, she's getting a dibber out, seemingly. She wouldn't show me it, but I did ask her. Evening, Adrian, and all you wrong-uns. Smash the likes. Ian McGee says, smash the likes as I entered prelubed. Ian, what can I say? Don't slide off the pews. Blimey. Stuart says, Sister Mary's gone clubbing. What, baby seals? Angelic Inspirations. Vatican is good at making people vanish. You can get they're very good with vanish. The Catholic Church gets all those stains out of the cassocks. Rusty Roaming says, love Trump's speech today. You spit, we hit Brilliant. I am going to talk about the Donald, the orange man, in just a little while. So welcome to... why on earth have I... Oh, that'll be why then. Welcome to Live 216. Sorry, I'm talking to myself here. I'm having a full-blown conversation in my head. It's the hibiscus. I tell you, it's the hibiscus. Thank you to Get a Defendant for last night. Again, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something from it. Welcome to the birthday boy, Stuart, and Paul Mabry, who was his birthday a couple of days ago. So on the sermon tonight, only the pulpit of truth knows. I'm going to reiterate some stuff that I've told you. I'm sure you won't have forgotten, but it's all kicking off. So I'm going to talk about the all kicking off and, what it's doing and how it is. I'm going to talk about royals. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. We're going to talk about LIBOR. That's not a posh political party. It's just they all lie. We're going to talk about... I'm going to ask you a question about your favourite ice lolly, because there's a legendary ice lolly making a return, seemingly. We're going to talk about Americana, the Donald making Washington great again. Oh, have you eaten popcorn yet? I know they're 5 hours behind us, but you need to get your popcorn, because I'm not sure the Donald is mucking about this time around. So Nancy Pelosi says, the January 6th insurrection. And the Donald's just kicking off, and it's like, Pelosi's got a lot to answer for. Oh, I say. Yeah, how much did she make? I'm getting a bit of an alert on my... that'd be better. Phil Sumner. I think we need to have a detention, because there's so many people late this evening, but with good manners. Louise and Phil, and there was somebody much earlier. Phil says, I'm a bit late. That's Phil Sumner. I'm a bit late, Rev, but I've smashed the likes. Don't you worry about that. Sorry, Rev. Yeah, smash the likes, you wrong'uns. See if we get nearly 200 people watching now. So as you come into the church, obviously curtsy or kneel or whatever you want to do. Spectacles, testicles, wallet and watch. That's me at the front from the pulpit of truth. You can have Battenberg, I don't mind that, and some free auto wine, but just smash the likes, because it's all free. Angelic inspirations. Fab lollies are still lovely angelic inspirations. There's some in my Louise Rocket. Hello. Lord Toffingham. Well, what the bloody hell? How was everybody talking in Swahili this evening? Theo Bovril. Chilled 50 quid notes is my favourite lolly. Brilliant, Theo Bovril. Very funny. Terry Wookfit. How did you work that out? Hang on. Let's have a look at what Rusty Roamings has been saying. Looks like Charlie might be abdicating. Oh, I say, Rusty's Roamings. He's not. Pop-eyed Wazzers in the body of the Kirk this evening. Keir Starmer, I want to be straight. I prefer the... oh, come on. What a waste. I could have been the ticket man at Fulham Railway Station. I can't even say it when I'm sober, let alone on a few. But Rusty's Roaming says that Charles the Weak is going to abdicate. Well, he's not well. Oh, Jackie Glasgow's been reading the morning papers. We'll talk about that in just a little while. So whether Charles the Weak is going to abdicate, well, he's not looking a well man. And all of a sudden it's gone to nothingness in the newspapers today. And it's every day. Every day there's a bit of royal news. He's making a huge historic announcement this week, apparently, says Rusty's Roamings. I think he's going to congratulate our heroes for the VJ 80th celebrations. That's Victory in Japan Day, isn't it? And then we have VE, Victory in Europe Day. Blimey, Jackie Glasgow, you've got definitely up there. Because you're tuning in to my wavelength. New pop group idea. Keir Starmer and the 34 billion. Oh, don't. Maybe they're just calling it the Chagos. But we are going to get to that this evening. Abdication speech party, anyone? Napoleon blown apart. He's not, man. He's just going to... Charles, the king, is going to address the nation. As in, wear a dress, nation, or what? Oh, that is funny. Andrew James. Has Sister Mary gone to carpet right with Nicola Sturgeon? Oh, little Jimmy Cranky. Well, that's not news. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Her bollocks were bigger than beach balls. She's... And, well, we'll talk about it in just a little while. Non-binary. What the hell's non-binary? Well, like man and woman. I'm not one of them. Well, what are you then? Because I'm looking at you and I can see you. So you're definitely human form. Ian McGee says, I'm convinced Charles the Woke has converted and coming out. Out? Oh, Camilla, Queen Consort. Not been around for a little while. A few days. Right, Les Griffiths is saying, censoring started early. It's not mine. My hands are here. You can see what I'm doing. What? Oh, what was that from? It's an old trick I learned in the army. Wasn't Monty Python. Or the body of the Kirk will tell me. So I've got a comedy show where somebody would walk past with his hands up in the air and the women all went, oh! And he's like, it's an old trick I learned in the army. I can't remember who did that. Beata says, good evening, Mr. Allen and all. Enjoying the ice-cold Thatcher's cider. Other brands available. Oh, Beata. Right, everybody around Beata's. The party going on and she's got chilled cider. Les Griffith says, non-binary, not knowing if you are Arthur or Martha. Oh, I say. Non-binary sounds like a droid from Star Wars. Very good, Matthew. Nikki Watson, evening all. Just finished watering the garden. Oh, Nikki, welcome to the body of the Coke. Just as well I didn't start. Hang on, where's my notes? Where's my mouth? So we're going to get into it. So welcome all. What was the question I was going to ask? Let me just write something, because I was going to because we might get to music a little bit later on. I just fancy a bit of music. We're going to, as I say, we're going to talk about the Donald and his speech today. Oh, he's proper going for them in Washington. He's not mucking about. We're also going to talk about old folks, because there's a few in the body of the Kirk. Not old folks, but there's a few human beings in the body of the Kirk. What's Wookfee said now? Des Ashton says, maybe he's going to tell us all that Allah Karim Hamdulillah. Probably. He's Protestant, seemingly. He's the head of the Protestant church. How much good that does. I mean, Henry VIII must be spinning in his grave. Charles converting to Islam is not new. It's just an open secret, like Starmer being a Larry Grayson without the humour. You're funny tonight, Andrew. What you been on? Hibiscus? Can't see my lips move. Ghetto Defendant, it's a bit Betty Swallows tonight. Yeah, I agree. Ghetto Defendant, and now that I know that you're in the body of the Kirk. Before I start talking about what's on the sermon, just want to say a personal thank you to you. It was excellent last night. There's so much to talk about in so many different ways. So I'm really thankful that you gave everyone an insight, and we've started the conversation, and it's added to what I did on the lives last week. Was it last week or the week before? God, so many of these, I can never keep up. But just want to say a personal thank you, Ghetto Defendant, for last night. Fantastic. Wonderful. Les Griffith says, Starmer is more Norman Bates with a portfolio. Norman Bates? Master Bates? But really? Tucker 69 has come out. He's confessed. I'm not a 1 or a 0. I'm non-binary, as I'm a 69er. I thought you were 68. Tucker 69. Because at 69 you've got to turn around. So we're going to talk about 3I. God, I didn't write it down. Hang on. Where's... honestly, I will get to the stuff that I wanted to talk about. Hang on. What did Alan say? Yeah, something's just gone past my eyes. Stand by, caller. I'll be with you in a second. Right, we're getting on to the abdication of the king here, which is very serious. But where's Des gone? Des. 3I. Oh, that was it. There we go. There we go. Go. Stand by. 3i Atlas. Yeah, wrong one. That's what I needed to get to. Let me just... 3... Hang on. I... Right, CPA. I just got to remember that, Des. CPA. Thank you very much. So tonight we're going to talk about what's going on in America, because it's proper kicking off on multiple levels. But I want to sort of reiterate that, well, as the Reverend from Universal Ministries, otherwise known as Reverend Allen, because then Article 9 covers us of the European Human Rights Act. The Human Rights Act. You can have free speech, Article 10, but Article 9 covers, well, religious services. And that's why I bring you a sermon every single live. So you know what they can do, don't you? Foxtrot Oscar, because I'm covered by Article 9. We're going to talk about 3i Atlas, 60 kilometres per second. It's hurtling towards us. That would, it'll definitely make it go boom. Snorers, well, it's a blowjob that you need. Telling you, I'm not winding you up. I will tell you more a little bit later. Benjamin Fulford. Oh, I say, Les. Get a defendant. Happy to help the community. The mission continues. Time to stand up and hold our leaders to account. All of them. The moronic people in the Ozempic Palace. All of them. So later we're going to talk about the heat alert. I'm looking for best cures. I'm going to give you my my Betty Thwallock advice, because I'm ginger, I'm from the north, and if it gets above 10 degrees Celsius, that's it, it's a heat wave. So we're going to talk about Israel. Oi, because all the press are just like, oh, we're looking over here. Israel's doing what? Oh, we're looking over here. Israel's doing what in Gaza City? Right. We're going to look over here because there's absolutely nothing to talk about. We're not going to publish anything that's got anything to do with Netanyahu or Israel. Well, we'll be talking about that in just a little while. And the white working class underachievement is a national disgrace, said an MP once today. No shit, Sherlock. So we'll talk about that in just a little while. Showbiz, I'm going to ask you a question about the album that defined a decade. We'll start in the 50s. So as we go through, you can give me your favourite 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Do we go to the noughties? Because there's not been really any decent music produced or composed for at least 25 years. What do you mean, who am I talking about? Well, if he's ginger and plays the ukulele, and if she's swift at getting her songs done, oh dear Lord. Don't know, Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell, the piano intro on the album. I mean, we could listen to Ed Sheeran in his ukulele. We could listen to Swiftie. It's just opinion. It's my opinion. I don't care. Free speech, but her music is shite. I'm covered by Article 69, says Neil Cunningham. I think William will be worse. Ooh, interesting angelic inspirations. Because everybody thinks he's going to be all right. But I can't really tell you what I know. Otherwise, I will end up in jail. Dr. 69, Betty Swallock's talcum powder will stop them sticking to your knees, Adrian. Togger 69. Has somebody been posting some of my pictures? Tell you what, they are being shipped back to France. They have been for the last 2 to 3 years. What the? Popeye Wazza says the rubber dinghies aren't being destroyed. They're being stockpiled with tags, dozens of them. Yeah, so they take them back, as Terry Wookfit's quite accurately said. They go back to France and they just put more people in and ship them across. We are going to talk about that in just a little while. Alan Blindfold said, what if he's ginger and plays an upright organ? Well, I am a fan of Housework. I know you don't know this, Alan Blindfold, but I am a fan of the Housework. And I've got a dear friend to credit this, because it's one of my favourite gags, and he created it and came up with it. And I work with him at Century 106, so I'm not going to name him. But I am a fan of Housework, because on a warm afternoon, there is nothing better than hoovering the house. I mean, I spend hours hoovering, because as I can attest, there's nothing better than getting an upright in your hand. Ian McGee says William is as bad as Wokey. Oh, dear Lord. I'm not having a go at Ian. I just can't stand the wokerati. Terry, treason by complicity. Beata, no money for public services, but Starmer finds 35 billion for the Chagos Islands. Well, we're going to talk about that, Beata. We are going to talk about that. So, from the pulpit of truth, me, you're wrong. From the pulpit of truth for 3 years. It's 3 years at the beginning of September. Got stuff planned, but I'm not going to tell you about it tonight. Stuff planned. So I've been doing my research, and today there's been some paperwork, loose term. There's been some documents released today by DOGE, the Department of Government Expenditure, and they've released some documents. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the CIA working with China to fix the system called Smartmatic. Now, the Venezuelans used Smartmatic, and seemingly they know that the Venezuelan elections are, what can we say, a bit whiffy. But those documents are being released today. So you won't see it in the press in the morning, because the press will just lots of brown stuff flying around, and it will hit the fan tomorrow, because the British newspapers will go, "What? I don't understand that. What's that then?" And I have told you multiple times. And it's so the reason why I've done what I've done over the last nearly 3 years is I've just given you stuff. And it's entirely down to you whether you believe me or not, because I hold my integrity and my hands up and say, look, I'm trying to do my best by you, and I'm not really interested in the usual propaganda BS that is peddled by the propaganda peddlers. Well, that's why they're propaganda peddlers, because it's propaganda, and for propaganda, read bullshit. So I've been trying to tell you that there's pieces of the jigsaw that nobody else is giving you. Nobody, because they don't get this. They don't understand it. They haven't been doing what I've been doing for the last 40 years. And so what I've been doing is I've been dropping little Easter eggs all the way through these lives over the last nearly 3 years. And why have I done that? It's because suddenly you'll go, holy Jesus, the Rev was talking about that. He told us about that. And then people will go, oh, I say, touch your toes, Reverend. How wonderfully fortuitous. So I've told you about the 6 central banks that the Rothschilds need control over. Now, the 2 biggies are Russia and China. That'll be interesting. But they've got other smaller countries. So they've got Iran and North Korea. There's 4. North Korea, Iran, China, Russia. They've pretty much got hold of Syria, but they need to get Hungary and Venezuela. Now, Venezuela is one of the mightiest oil-producing nations on planet Earth. They don't bugger about in Venezuela. Well, they do, but not with the oil. What do? They come up with this system called Smartmatic. It's a machine, and it's an electronic machine. And what they do is they're trying to get it out to the world. So there are certain Chinese, no, you can't say that, Adrian. There are certain governments around the world that like to have a rigged election. They're all rigged, all of them. And soon enough, you'll have your digital ID where you will vote. You may, as we were talking about with Ghetto Defendant last night, you may need biometrics, so you might have to use a thumbprint or your eyeballs or some face scanning. So you do realise, and this is a little aside from what we're talking about, and I mentioned this a few weeks ago, you do realise that when I went to vote in the local elections, they knew my address, they knew who I was, they scanned everything so that they can align, so the piece of paper that they gave me had a barcode on it. And I said, what's that? Oh, it's all right, sir. You just use that. So I've quickly figured out that they could work out who I voted for. What they're going to do with digital ID is, if you don't vote the right way, then you're not getting a house from the Labour Communist Party. You're not going to get anything from the Chinese Communist Party. You're not going to get anything from Europe until you vote the right way. And if you don't think that's coming, it's already in bloody Venezuela. It's already there. It's already called Smartmatic. Google it. Smartmatic. So what the CIA have been doing, working with the Chinese Communist Party, or China, they've been using Smartmatic. Now, as you know, the CIA has been using a shit ton of money. And we're talking about the United States Agency for International Development. And there's billions and billions and billions, and they've just given it away. Worldwide, giving it away. Corruptly. Oh, you think the CIA's not corrupt? Oh, look, my hairy backside. They're all politicians, and intelligence agencies are all corrupt and manipulated. All of them. Do not believe in the Hollywoodization. It's a bit like the Disneyfication of animals. The Hollywoodization of, the three-letter agencies. Well, they're there to protect us. No, they're not. They're there to launder money. They're there to send the money abroad, and then it comes back where? Into the trouser pockets of the politicians. So the Doge documents released today, they've said that Smartmatic has been used electronically from July '09, the year after the banks collapsed. Oh, I wonder why that is then. So the banks collapse. Fan my brow. It's corrupt, all of it. And, so we're talking about any elections in this country, they're going to be rigged. With digital ID, you've only got 9 days left, because it's the 11th today. No, 10 days, to the 21st of August. That's when the inquiry, that's when all the evidence is stopped. So they'll go away and look at it and come up with some mealy-mouthed bullshit to keep everybody on the right side of being controlled. So trust me, it's coming. I know you're laughing at me. I don't care. Really, don't give a flying. Canadian IT company, according to Des Ashton, which provides most of the USA's voting machines, that's Smartmatic. Correct. And Venezuela have been working with Smartmatic. Oh, and the Democratic Party have been working with Smartmatic, or just an electronic voting system. And the reason why the Democrats did that, they didn't want Trump in for a second term, man. So it's all rigged. It's all rigged. Don't think you've got democratic power. You can decide, well, I'm going to vote for that person because they're going to do more for my community and more for my family and more for Les Griffith says, going to be rigged, Adrian. It would be naive to believe they haven't been. They have been for 70 years. So since we came out of World War II and the utter devastation after World War II, they've been rigging everything. The UN came about, the World Health Organization came about, and you think they're just benign organizations to look after me and you, to make sure that everything's fine. No, my hairy backside. So just keep that there and monitor it, because we've got local elections voting coming up in certain parts of the country that they couldn't do this year, but they're going to do next year or later this year. And we know what's going to happen. The Labour Party is going to be eviscerated. They can foxtrot Oscar because they're not a political party anymore. They're just a bunch of corrupt clowns. How can I define corruption? Dead easy. We were told Starmer needs to be fired. So I don't know whether Charles the Week is actually going to say this later on in the week. Oh, yes, VJ, 80th celebrations. And oh, by the way, I've told that clown to foxtrot Oscar. Yes, the Prime Minister, he can back off. I've had enough of him. Yes, him and his government. I've told the Labour Party to give me a new leader for my government. Not forgetting your one vote will no doubt be two votes for the far left parties, of course, Andrew. Les Griffith says, Royal Crest was removed from the Palace Gates in 2018, only done on a monarch's death. Then there is Balmoral and the Sky Hot Mike incident. Look, Charlie's just going to sit there and go, oh, I say, hello, everyone. Aren't you having a good time? Isn't life well, even though you're impoverished and you're going to eat crickets and you're going to live in mud huts? Oh, we're not. No, don't be silly. No. We've got billions and billions. The Duchy of Lancaster, billions and billions and billions of pounds. Obviously, we're not going to give it to you because you're just a plebs. No, don't be silly. Oh, you were expecting a special announcement. I haven't got one. Haven't got one. And so just park that up, because as I was saying, I leave Easter eggs for you to kind of pick up and retain. It's a bit like playing Mario Kart. So you'll pick the coins up as we go along. I'm not going to give it to you all. I'm not going to give you all of my knowledge. I'm not going to give you all of my experience either. I'm just, because I have such a wonderful audience here that is so intelligent. It's like when no, I'm not going to talk about him, but it's just, people will come to the channel and some will go, oh, I can't really grasp this. 2 hands, baby. 2 hands, and it's going to be a wild ride over the next 6 months. But I'm just saying to you that there's 6 countries that you need to keep an eye on. So when you're getting the reportage, when you're hearing radio stations talk about it, or newspapers printing it, or the TV news going, oh, it's all kicking off in Venezuela. Of course it is. Of course it is. Because you've got North Korea, Iran, China, Russia, Hungary, Venezuela. Technically, they had Syria, but they've taken over the Syria central bank now. So there's only 6 countries left. And bugger me, if technical term, obviously, those documents are being released today that the Venezuelan dictator's been rigging the elections using Smartmatic. Oh, I say. So when you read anything about Venezuela, totalitarian tiptoe, anyone, as David Icke once says? Oh, it's raining. Ah, sweet relief. My hands are there. Iomatic and Royal Protection Teams. Don't know what you're talking about, Lord Wookfit. Obviously, I've missed some of the comments. But those 6 countries are literally, for the New World Order, if you want NWO, or Logan's Run, if you've seen the film. As I've said, I've got some time this week. I'm on me Todd again. So it's Toby Covery takeaways for me. I'm not joking either. So Starmer's past as a human rights lawyer needs to be exposed. He's defended some proper evil bastards, says Lauren Taylor. Oh yes, I was going to say to everyone, if you are going to put contentious stuff in the comments, code it. Either take the first letter, put a full stop in there, and I'll know what you're talking about. I'll be able to read it. I can say this and get away with it, because this is not monetized, so they're not interested in me. I'm not on anybody's radar. But if they've got AI on YouTube that monitors everything in the comments. So just as Lauren has done, just amend it slightly. But I'll kind of get what you're saying. That's very funny, Leo. I'm not repeating it, but it's very funny. That's very nice. So those 6 countries, when they talk about oil or gas, if they're talking about oil and gas with Venezuela, with Iran, with Russia, North Korea, I'm not sure they've got much of that, but they're still a communist state, and China's got all the gold. So you're looking at Venezuela, Iran, Hungary's just Hungary. It doesn't. I'm not sure it's got much gas and oil, but when you've got all of this going on, and the newspaper's not reporting it, and all they're talking about is bloody Prince Andrew not going to America, like on the front of the Mirror today. Point of no return. Who's fucking interested in him? Nobody. We know what he's done. He's a bit of a shagger, Randy Andy. He's a bit of a shagger, and he's being caught out shagging. Now, technically, they say in America she was underage, Virginia Giuffre, but she was legal tender. In this country, it's 17, so he can do anything he wants. But just saying that he's not going to America, no shit, Sherlock. But I want to talk about these 6 countries because you've got the Donald making this speech today. Washington's. Get your popcorn, man. Get your popcorn, because it's all going to kick off. The Democrats and the left, they're not very happy, but they're not very bright either. So you've got them all going, oh, no, you can't do this. Les Griffith says, if Charlie's big announcement is that Camilla's up the duff, I'm joining the Scientologists. Get me an application form if young Camilla's a tampon gate, if because Charlie likes to be up there, seemingly, from the recordings. Maybe we talk about that another night. Andy, was he sweating? He will be now. So these 6 countries are literally lighting your path to understanding, because the world is nothing about other than money and power. That's it. And you can get money and power from oil and gas. They're not interested. So there's a Doge investigation into the CIA and USAID funding. As I've said to you before, United States Agency for International Development, bit of a mouthful, according to Megan, but communist Venezuela, the globalists have, when I did the sort of scene set around the technocrats and the United Nations and the World Health Organization, again, it's a little bit too much to grasp in say one live, because this has taken me 40 years to get an understanding around this. And it's because I'm looking at it every single day thinking, holy Jesus, they're doing what? But the DOGE, Department of Government Expenditure, well, obviously they're going to look at the Pentagon the day before 9/11, and Donald Rumsfeld standing up going, right, lads, have we got all the press pack in here? Yeah, righto. Well, right, lads, here's your headline. There's nearly $3 trillion gone missing. Right, that's the end of this particular press call. So, lads, if you, and ladies, obviously, no discrimination here. But if you, thanks very much. I'm just going to go and have a beer and a round of golf. So if you've got any more questions, no, write them off. Nearly $3 trillion went missing. And fan my brow, if they don't crash, who's they, Adrian? I'll tell you in a second. They crash a couple of airplanes into, well, if you believe that, you believe anything. Crashed a couple of airplanes into the Twin Towers. And lucky what's-his-face, who owned the towers, who just took out some terrorist insurance a couple of days before 9/11, walked away with trillions in his arse pocket. So you've got all it's money. It's money, it's corruption. It's just corrupt. So the CIA, who've been controlling the world for 70, nearly 80 years, they're going to be investigated by Doge and the Trump government, the Trump administration. And that's why they're shitting themselves in Washington. That's why they're shitting themselves in America. Grab your popcorn. This is the best telly you'll ever see. And the Donald today, I was driving about and I was listening to a radio station. And so the Donald started his speech, and the radio station jumped in and went, oh, that's a bit, he goes off script every now and again. And I think they were genuinely shitting themselves because they were scared that the Donald was going to go off script and they didn't know what he was going to say. And that's why he does it, because he's the president, he's the most powerful man in the world, and he doesn't care. Well, he does, but he's not going to tell them what he's going to do. Les Griffiths, aviation fuel doesn't burn hot enough to melt steel. Yeah, I know. So, how does two towers and WTC7 fall in free fall time when aviation fuel can't bend steel, seemingly? So there's all that going on, and the Donald is, well, I think we know that the Donald he was kind of in the orbit of Epstein, but we know that he didn't do anything, because even Epstein's lawyer said that Trump didn't do anything. And in the same way that Trump was built up to be American president or a multi-billionaire, I'm sure his son Barron is being tutored to be a president of the United States. I mean, can you not remember the inauguration? Young Barron Trump, all 7'10" of him, went over to Biden and went, oi, Joe, mate, it's on. Oh, I say. Did Joe shit himself again? Oh, did I say that out loud? Can't see me lips move. So young Biden in these... Joe, have you shit... I thought you were going to wear a nappy, Joe. Have you not... Oh, leave us alone. Just take us for an ice cream, man. I think I've just had a body burp. I think, oh, yeah, might have been a wet one. So, you've got, as I say, most wealthy people, not rich, Rich is different from wealthy. Most wealthy people plan for 3 generations. Everybody else plans for a Saturday night. So you've got Baron, 1 generation, and then Baron eventually will have his own kids, and the Donald might be around, but Les Griffiths, have you read this? I'm aware of the book, Ingersoll Lockwood, the book from the 19th century. Baron Trump is the last president. Oh, I say. Is it the aliens, Les? But to get back on topic, the CIA and the US aid funding into communist Venezuela. The globalists were using the CIA and the United States Agency for International Development to control as much of the world as they could. The globalists want a new world order. And I'm telling you, they either want the headquarters of the globalist organization, if you will, not UN, not the World Health Organization, because they were backed by very wealthy families. The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds. They're going to put the capital of the globalist government either in Europe, possibly China. It could even be DC. So if Trump is, the turn of phrases I hear on here really is in education, cracks me up. And hang on, angelic inspirations, what we said now. We're getting into trouble. Napoleon Bonaparte. Can you actually believe we're talking about a president shitting himself in 2025? I can, Napoleon. See, I'm so excited I can't even get me lips to move, and I haven't had any alcohol either. I just can't believe that the Americans fell for an actor in a mask. Because was he not dead years ago, or senile, or whatever was going on, but his sphincter just didn't work. So there he's standing on a platform, and you can see Macron going, oh, I say, Joseph, what is that? And you can see Jill Biden go, oi, Joe, have you shit yourself again? Right, come with me. I mean, and Macron's married to, pays your money, you takes your choice. You decide. Candace Owens has, and they've dropped the case. So evidently, Macron's married to a bloke. I don't know what that is en français, but I'm telling you, just a really bad fitting wig. But if that is true, I know I'm dancing about the houses, but I will get back on topic about the globalists. So if Macron is married to Arthur or Martha, can we have a look at how old he was when she decided to diddle him? Was he underage? Don't know what the age of consent is in France. En français. Mephistopheles. Prone Jose. Stuart says, the video of him farting and saluting everyone had me in stitches. It's brilliant. Trumpeter. Can you imagine? I mean, maybe he's deaf as well. Maybe he can't, he's kind of heard it in the distance. He's not heard it properly. He's just heard it in the distance and gone, oh, the trumpeter started. Hello! Wonderful. Macron's missus is definitely shaped like a man. No hips. I'm not even, that is not something that I'm having burned on the retina of my eyes for me to want to be remembered by. But Jill Biden, she's a doctor. She got him off stage, walked him away. I mean, you can tell, look, we've been out on the lash and we've been out on some sessions where all of a sudden it's a bit, oh dear, oh, hang on, I need to smuggle this one to the bathroom. And there's Jill Biden trying to smuggle Joe off the stage somewhere, and he's walking like John Wayne that shit himself. So can you imagine John Wayne walking like that if he shit himself, and Joe Biden looks like that? Not like Joe Biden walking like that. I mean, I think it's fantastic that we have the freedom to be able to talk as adults about this and take the absolute proverbial out of the most powerful man in the world. Well, it wasn't really him. It was more Bathhouse Barry and the auto pen. Oh, I say, Michael, what do we do with this? You can shove it up your ass. Barry, I've had enough of you. No, it's an auto pen. Well, you can stick that one up there as well. I'm not having it. So the CIA is going to be investigated, and I'm sure it's a bit like, did you not think, where's the gold gone from the City of London? and it went across to America. And they still haven't shown us where the gold is in Fort Knox, because there's no gold in Fort Knox. Hang on, Adrian, Reverend, why is there no gold in Fort Knox? What? Tell me why you think there's gold in Fort Knox. They've not checked it since the 70s. Did anybody have a look at Nixon's casket when he was buried? Because it might be in there with him. Tricky ticky. Dear Lord. Is no one asking the question? Because the first question that came out of Elon Musk's gob was, where's the gold? What we're going to do is we're going to unseal Fort Knox and we're going to have a look at the gold. And then all of a sudden, hello, is that the Bank of England? Have you got any physical gold? I know Gordon Brown sold it off for buttons, but have you got any gold you can loan us? Because we need to put it into Fort Knox. And, everybody's got to see there's gold bars in Fort Knox. They never did. That's brilliant, Les Griffiths. Which Joe Biden? The short one or the 7-foot tall one? We're all at that. Theo Bovril. They've actually lost the key to the vault. Is that the big key that Trump gave to Elon Musk, and it was supposed to be the freedom of Mar-a-Lago? Maybe it was the big key for Fort Knox. Napoleon blown apart. That is brilliant. One of the Joe Biden doubles wasn't even white. Was it Jim Carrey? Because they reckon Jim Carrey was one of the doubles. But Jim Carrey don't need the money. But then again, And Popeye Wazza says, in all these Chinese mobiles. Exactly. That's where the gold is. But the aliens are around because they've come here because we've got loads of gold. And they need gold for, their spaceships, seemingly. I've watched Ancient Aliens. I know what they're talking about. So, Michael Collins says, forgive me if this has already been pointed out. Aviation fuel burns between 800 to 1500 degrees C. Steel starts to lose its structure integrity. Risk of collapse commencing around 760 degrees C. I thought it was 2000 degrees C, Michael. But I'm happy to be proven otherwise. So if aviation fuel burns between 800 and 1500 degrees Celsius and steel, it needs a burn point of 2000. Well, I'm happy to be pointed in another direction. It wasn't hematite. What was it? Thermite. So just explain to me why there was traces of thermite found on the steel, in the steel, and why the American government of the time took away all of the rubble and steel and everything away from ground zero, took it elsewhere, and it's never been... it's to melt it. Okay. Just as a little aside, Bad Wolf Project says, funny how no one mentions the gold held in reserves in Denver, valued at 43 trillion. It's probably all Bitcoin now. Michael Collett says 2000 C is to melt said steel. So the integrity of the steel will start to wane, for want of a better term, but melt it to bring the towers down in its footprint and in free fall. That's the most important thing, because there was absolutely nothing left up there. So I would suggest that the integrity of the steel was compromised to such a high level that aviation fuel couldn't have done it. But thermite might have done. Reason why all these mobile buyers popped up years back and still exist. They knew something we didn't that time. Early retirement. So... the globalists can't decide whether they're going to have the headquarters of this global government, whether it's going to be in Europe. Is it going to be Brussels? Is it going to be China? Nobody will be able to understand them. Is it going to be in DC? I would suggest it's going to be an English-speaking country. Dale Steele. Steel will melt in a house fire. That's not aviation fuel, though, Dale. What we're looking at. Melting point of steel around 1370 Celsius to 1510 Celsius. That's 2,500 Fahrenheit to 2,750 Fahrenheit, depending on alloy. Dale Steele says that's why it has to be fire bordered. But what I'm saying is all of the evidence was barged and taken away from ground zero, and nobody's ever seen it again. Why would that be? Because they don't want to trace thermite or any other explosives that brought a tower or two or three if you do WTC7. WTC7 just looks as if it's being pulled. You can look at it and go, well, that's a demolition. You can look at the Twin Towers and go, that's a demolition. But why would they want to demolish it? Varying theories. But let me finish off this pulpit of truth tonight, because this is vitally important. I've already told you to keep an eye on these 6 countries. If there's any reportage anywhere in the media, you know that it's manipulated. You know that it's controlled. You know that it's the Rothschilds. And you know that they want the central bank of those 6 countries. Now, they're not going to get Russia and they're not going to get China until the aliens land, of course. But they're going to get Venezuela because, I mean, the CIA have been manipulating elections for 72 years. So you've got the CIA in handcuffs, if you will, because, well, Doge is going to be investigating CIA and the United States Agency for International Development funding. And communist Venezuela will fall under that remit. So the wars are not going to be fought with bullets and rifles. They're going to be fought online. This is why you must stay resolute, in my view, and understand this and just get rid of all the flim-flam, because it's of no consequence whatsoever, because their agenda is there right in front of your eyes. But you need to have the intellect and the eyes to see it. Glenfell was a concrete building, was it not? Yes, it was, Dale. And it didn't collapse into its own footprint, did it? Les is saying the removal of the evidence required 650 cargo planes. I thought it was barges that got it off the island quickly. Grenfell's Bad Wolf Project says Grenfell's main structure was reinforced concrete, not exposed structural steel. But WTC7 was the command and control for the whole event. Remember that there was actually an exercise, ongoing, lifetime exercise, and one of the controllers in the exercise had to ask, is this lifetime or is this exercise? And they had to say, no, it's real, it's real, it's real. There were 5 planes in the air. We know 2 of them has gone into 2 towers. We know the 3rd in Pennsylvania was taken down and was shot down. And I'm telling you again, George W. Bush said, and I quote directly, the shooting down of that plane was the most difficult decision I've had to take as president. Quote, directly, because I saw it with these. I saw it because I was in front of every single news feed in this country. And then all of a sudden, that comes on and then disappears. You can't find it anywhere. But I saw it with my eyes because I was in the thick of it, real time. And I've told you the old story about me. I was in a relationship with a news editor of a radio station. And I told her that. I said, George W. Bush, quote, the shooting down of that plane is the most difficult decision I've had to take as president. And she laughed. She laughed at me. And she said, oh, you and your conspiracy theories. So I just shut up, said nothing, and waited. And then about 3 or 4 months later, the BBC did a sort of docudrama. And within this docudrama, they got Condoleezza Rice and the deputy president, got them into the situation room, got them into a safe room. And the BBC, within its docudrama, stated that George W. Bush had given the go-ahead to shoot down the planes. Any plane in the air, shoot them down. Get them down. Let's get everybody where we need to get them. But I'm giving the executive order, shoot down any planes in the air. That's why they had to get everybody on the ground so that the fighter pilots could just, with freedom and impunity, just look at whatever was in the air and just shoot it down. So unless you can give me corroborative proof, because I've given you a direct quote from George W. Bush, he'll be dead soon. So old age, no other reason than old age. nobody's going to be able to corroborate anything else. But the BBC had the corroborative proof. But the globalists, the technocrats, are wanting now to have the New World Order government either in Europe, China, or DC. So it's all going to kick off in Washington, and I would love to see what's going to go on with the Donald. Neil Cunningham, the plane that allegedly hit the Pentagon was spotted 24 hours later on the runway in Newark Airport. Correct. It was a bloody missile, Neil. It wasn't a plane that hit the Pentagon because it hit the bloody offices where the paperwork was stored for the nearly $3 trillion that went missing. So they've got no proof now. Oh, it's all flutty. We don't know. Got no paperwork. Can't trace it. Don't know what's going to happen to that. So where did the $3 trillion go? Ooh, I wonder whose arse pocket that went into. Ray Norton says, WTC closed weekend before incident. First time it was shut down. Was it the whole nest of the World Trade, the WTC 7? Because there was a whole nest of them, wasn't there? Smaller than the two towers. But it was only WTC 7 and the Twin Towers that was taken down. But it was done so beautifully and efficiently, everybody just goes, oh, it's Hollywood, it's like a film. Remember the grey woman who was covered in all the dust and cement? Yeah, the firefighters who were there were saying, oh, there's a bomb gone off. There's a bomb gone off. They soon eviscerated that. No, you can't find that anywhere. There was one of the fire captains was saying, yeah, bombs have gone off in the Twin Towers. So how can bombs go off when it was planes that hit the towers? It don't make any sense, does it? Please make it make sense if you can. Lord Wuckford, you haven't given a direct quote. You've paraphrased what he said to suit an agenda. Wuckford, I'm telling you now, these seen it, these heard it. And I'm quoting him. The shooting down of that plane is the most difficult decision I've had to take as president. Quote. I saw it on the news feeds that were coming through. We had every news feed, all of the UK news feeds, the American news feeds. We had ticker tape news feeds, and we had radio stations in America, in New York, that we were relaying live. So that is a direct quote, because I've seen it with these and I've heard it with these. But you won't find it anywhere because they won't allow you to. Why would they want you to see the truth? This is an agenda. And I said to you the other night, why were the Americans standing on the rubble shouting, USA, USA, USA? Why? Seemingly, it was a couple of planes that just went to some towers. And I remember the Frenchman he was kind of filming with the New York Fire Department and somehow managed to catch one of the planes going into the towers. Now, originally, we thought it was just a small aircraft, light aircraft. We didn't know what kind of aircraft it was. It was just, actually, and poof, it went into the side of the tower. That's why all the firemen just raced to ground zero. Yeah, the direct quote, Terry. The shooting down of that plane is the most difficult decision I've had to take as president. So unless you've seen exactly the same and can corroborate it, and you're saying he said planes, well, it was the Pennsylvania United 9-3. And we had all this Hollywoodization of it, saying, oh, yeah, so-and-so, well, they charged and they tried to bring the terrorists, they tried to... Okay. Les Griffiths, is this the time to mention the photos of a whole floor of a tower being packed with explosives? Have you seen them, Les? Ping them over. I'd love to see it. Operation Bluebeam. So Raymond Moore is saying it was trialing the direct energy weaponry. So he's talking Operation Bluebeam. And then everything that went on in Hawaii. So let me just round this bit about the CIA off. I've been telling you for 3 years about the countries of the central bank with the central banks that the Rothschild central banking system wants control of. Because once they've got control of the central banks and they have digital ID, absolutely everything else is going to fall in behind that. And they will just tell us what we can do and what we can't do. Theo Bovril says... hang on, what's the Bible Project? Rephrase your post. Yeah. So if you're struggling and your posts are being edited, there's nothing that we're doing here at the Theatre of the Mind. It's YouTube. So you're going to have to either rephrase them or just... because if you put a dot into whatever contentious words, I'll be able to read it. Hopefully my intellect's good enough to be able to make it out. But give it another try, Nikki. The O'Borville says, I was watching the event via news feed on my computer, then watched live as the second aircraft hit the tower. I think a lot of people were doing exactly the same. Did I see... Sandra Whittam says, I knew someone who I worked with was en route to Disney that day. There were 5 hours in flight and it was turned around and came back to Manchester. Yeah, so I will tell you this for nothing. I can't give you any more detail and I can't tell you what my source is. But I will tell you this. So I'll paraphrase this because I know you're intelligent enough to read between the lines. We were told, other than the Bin Laden family that got out of America, PDQ, that everything was being pulled. Everything was being brought down to ground, whether it was an American flight going back to America. They were turning it around to Europe and to the UK and other places. They were getting all of the planes out of the air. And let's just say, a friend who I've been close to for 40 odd years was somewhere, and a couple of guys walked in, sunglasses, suits, sharp American accents, and he just in passing said, what are you doing here? They said, what do you mean? He said, what are you doing here? All the planes are grounded. How did you get here? And they just said to him, don't be silly. What do you mean all the planes are being grounded? We weren't. So there was... And all I will say as an addendum to that, our country has, if you Google Echelon, Echelon, Echelon. I'm not going to give you any more details than that, but you can Google it. Just Google Echelon. You'll thank me later. I know some people in the chat will know of it, but this is sort of 90s communication, and it was an ability for this country, Great Britain, to be able to communicate and monitor communications worldwide. So they knew what was going on. They knew. You thought this was just some sheepshaggers that learned how to fly 757s on the PlayStation and then went out and flew them. Here, mate. You know what that is, don't you? Stuart, my parents were both in work when 9/11 happened. They were told by colleagues, did you hear about the planes? And then it was breaking news. Les says, Andrew, the Jewish owner who bumped up the insurance prior to the tragedy, purchased the Brooklyn Bridge and reinsured it just before it was destroyed. That's why it's called lucky. Angelic Inspirations, quite right. Some people were chosen to stay at home that day, the lucky ones. Raymond Moore, long story, but a friend of mine stole a green crystal that was integral to it working. Part of a highly secret team. He's from up your way, and you may have even heard of him. Ooh. Best not put that in the chat, Raymond, but I'd love to talk to you via email. Now, me mentioning Echelon will be new to you, possibly, because for almost the last 30 years, nobody's talked about it. But it's been in this country. There are massive golf balls, about which I'm not going to say anything. But you think we're just some, as I say, you think the camel shaggers have been just playing on the PlayStation, and all of a sudden they're flying a 757 full of souls into the Twin Towers? No, man, away. What do you think I did? Just arrive on the last banana boat from Frances. Des Acton says, trained in diving explosives and demolitions. So imagine my surprise when, for the first time in history, no airframe or aero engine or black boxes remains to be investigated. But we did find... Go on, Les. Sorry, Des. Say what you've got to say. Reg D. The last 10 minutes of last night's show, my live chat disappeared. I only had a grey screen. Wow. Have you tried watching it today, Reg? Because I know we're all a bit twitchy and nervous at times, but and again, it depends what kind of setup you've got at home with your Wi-Fi and stuff. It wouldn't. Look, I'm very well aware of what these people do. I'm very well aware of stuff that I can't bring here. I can't, because it's too dangerous. I mean, if you think about it, a government can jail somebody for a tweet for 31 months. And I'm hoping that Lucy Connolly is going to be out within the next 2 weeks. And I do hope she goes back to her family. I do hope that she does interviews and makes a lot of money for her children and her and her partner, and then disappears. Raymond Moore, the story is huge and spans the past 3,000 years. I'll tell you a lot of it in email. Thank you, Raymond. It's Jousting Arena, all one word, lowercase, joustingarena@gmail.com. Thank you, Ray. Ray Norton. Echelon is operated from Menwith Hill, right? Partly. Do your research. Partly. We should be twitchy and nervous just because I'm paranoid. Doesn't mean, of course it doesn't, I see you. Of course it doesn't. That's why we have this community. Did someone find a Stargate in Iraq? I think they might have done, Mephistopheles. I think but they don't want us to know about it. Last night my screen went black and I lost comments, but only on last night's show. No other sites. Interesting. Ghetto Defendant, on 7/7, the trains were mostly destroyed, but remarkably, they found completely intact IDs of the offenders. I know, isn't it wonderful? Isn't it a miracle? It must be meant from God. I mean, if you look at the 9/11, the airline fuel melted the steel to such an extent that it brought 2 towers down, and yet they still found the passport of one of the pilots that seemingly flew the planes into the 2 towers. I mean, in the words of the great Chinese philosopher, they can hide away and shite. Lucy will have an NDA placed on her. They can't, Ian, because if the sentence is 31 months, she's being let out early, so she'll be out on license. And some of the license conditions, which are standard for everybody that's released early, they're saying that she'll be able to not talk about HMP, the prison system. She won't be able to talk about the Ministry of Justice. She won't be able to talk about anything, but she'll be out. And she'll, but also, it means that she might not be able to give interviews because the content of those interviews may be scrutinised by the probation service. So again, but these are standard conditions on anybody that's let out of jail early, and there's thousands of them, according to this morning's papers. Les Griffiths, have you researched Tim Osmond? Name rings a bell, Les. My screen went black earlier. It's now on its way to a hotel with a free bus pass. Brilliant. Thank you, Neil. Andrew James, passport found on top of the rubble. Most people keep passports in breast pockets. Yeah, and they went. So, as Ghetto Defendant says, as you're alluding to, it's just convenient that this airline fuel that brought down WTC-7 wasn't touched, planes didn't hit it, nothing, and it just randomly collapsed. And yet they find the passports of the camel shaggers who flew the planes. And they said, one of the airline pilot schools down in Florida said, no, 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 he couldn't fly a plane so long as he's got a hole up his backside. No, 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 no. Well, he flew that into the... Did he? Well, we thought he was shit. But who knew? Des says, just consider the structure of an aviation gas turbine. They are grown, then machined from a single crystal to be all but indestructible, but no sign of 8 engines in the rubble. Correct. Hang on, how many engines were there? Was there at least 4 or was there 8? But then, can you remember, not shortly afterwards in New York, there was a plane came out of the sky, and one of the engines landed in one of the neighborhoods in New York. This was like, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks afterwards. And the American media went, oh, it's just one of those regular occurrences. Yeah, plane engines fall off planes all the time. And the rest of the world's going, really? And then you saw the plane engine in the backyard of somebody's place thinking, holy shit, how did that not like flatten a house and kill everybody inside? So I don't know whether they were shooting planes out of the sky. They were never going to allow anybody to do that again in America. The order will have been given, just off you go. And every time there was an errant aeroplane, either off track or they couldn't get hold of the pilot from control, all of a sudden a couple of jets just appeared. Hello, mate. Yeah, everything all right? Yeah. It's American Air Force. So do as you're told, mate, otherwise we're going to blow you to fuck. Technical term that we pilots use, and we're on speed. So we don't care. We'll kill everybody. But nobody did any reportage on that plane a few weeks later after 9/11 being well, you know, euphemistically, it came out of the sky. I wonder how. Anybody want to buy the Chagos Islands? Where's he? Dale Steele, twin engine. I think there were 737s. I think it was 757s. But again, you know, I could be corrected, Dale. I don't know whether it was. I'm sure it was 757s. TMG. Didn't they find a piece of plane between 2 buildings not that long ago? Was it in New York? TMG. Because it's if you look at some of the stories that's come out, not just out over the last few weeks, and I know we're not keeping to the sermon tonight, where we're just kind of talking about the they think that we're thick randomness. Ooh, Les Griffiths. I'll have a look at that later. Interesting. Thank you, Dale. So but even if there were twin engines, Dale, you know, 757s, there's still 4 engines that weren't found in the Twin Towers. Hang on, right? Just give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to press a couple of buttons just to see what's what. Not at the moment. Let me just refresh that. I will get back to what we're talking about. Yes, got it. Yes, brilliant. I'll look forward to reading that a little bit later. Thank you, Ray. Really appreciate it. So the planes, there's the minute that something happens, like a missile goes into the Pentagon, and they tell us, no, it's a plane. It's the plane. Wasn't he? What was he called? Was it Tattoo? Boss, the plane. What was it, Fantasy Island? I'm randomly going somewhere. And Des Ashton says the Pentagon videos show gases expelling from the windows rather than air being dragged in to feed the ferocious aircraft fire. It was a missile. And what the FBI did was they went across the road to the petrol station opposite the Pentagon that they used to get their fuel for their cars, but it had CCTV. Lord Wookfit, who's the premier researcher on the channel, that's for sure. The 2 aircraft used in the Twin Towers were 767s. So we have. So I think the FBI had sort of 5 frames of something heading towards the Pentagon and then hitting the Pentagon and blowing up. But the very frame that they needed to release to the press to show what plane it was and what flavour of plane it was and which airline it was, and well, they couldn't. And now, 20 odd years later, it's a bloody missile. Wasn't an airplane at all. We all knew it was a missile, but we didn't have any corroborative proof. And then, well, they've released it. Not a tomahawk or anything, but it must have been a massive, whatever it was. Oh, that was it, Andrew. Yes, they cut out 3 frames and then said it was too fast for the cameras. My hairy backside. Yeah, of course. But the Americans were as thick as 2 short planks. They all bought into it. They all bought into the lies. USA, USA. Me being the cynical old tart and working in the media at the time and hosting a late night phone-in, the minute I heard USA, USA, I thought, ooh, there's a bloody rabbit away here. How did they know what the narrative is and what's being promulgated by the media? And the media suddenly said, oh, it's Osama bin Laden. Yes, it's Osama bin Laden. He tried to blow the Twin Towers up before and didn't succeed, and blew some truck or something in the basement car park of the towers, and it was bloody useless. But it's Osama bin Laden. That's Osama bin Laden that needed kidney dialysis. That the CIA built his cave system in the Tora Bora mountain range. So those who are investigating the CIA, oh, can you imagine the shit that's going to come out over the next few years because of this investigation into the CIA? Dale Steele says, at the time of 9/11, my mate was in Army office signing up for one para. Army recruitment guy said to him, looks like you're going to be busy. I was in David Lloyd's in Cardiff. And I was doing my workout, and obviously I knew a lot of the staff there because of the profile, because of what I was doing for Real Radio in South Wales. And they came across, bloody hell, Adrian, have you seen this? I said, I have. I've just finished my workout. I'm now going to work, straight to work. I'm going to have a quick shower, go to work. But I'm telling you this, lads, this is the most important event, historical event, in your lifetime so far. Because I knew how big it was. I mean, a couple of planes going into the towers, absolutely unheard of. And the towers coming down, was it about no, it was 9 o'clock there. So it's 5 hours. So I must have been about lunchtime. Must have been between 1 and 2 o'clock, our time in the UK. Rusty's Roamings. I know it's ridiculous. I tried 4 times earlier to post a comment. We'll all have to learn Unwinese. Give me age away there. Yeah. What was he called? Unwin. Yeah, he had his own language, didn't he? And then we lost the language because he died. I'll have to do the research. He's not there. Can't think of his first name. But Mephistopheles, put apparently in front of your sentence. Terry Wookfit, 9:30 US time for Pentagon. Yeah, everybody going, well, not going into work. Charlie Unwin, Rusty's Roamings, thank you. No, Stanley Unwin. Mind, there might have been 2, Stanley and Charlie. I don't think they were brothers by any stretch of the imagination. Les Griffiths, the object that hit the Pentagon has been confirmed as a missile painted in an airline livery. Ooh, cheeky tarts. Des Ashton, apparently we've been right royally misled all of our lives. Yeah, well, the thing that kept David Icke alive was he said that the royals were lizards. Because everything else that he said was too accurate. And the elite don't like it up them. Well, unless you're Prime Minister. They 767 hit the towers, 1 American airline, 1 United Airlines. Thank you, Howard. My first time, Howard. We always pop everybody's cherry at first time in the chat. But thank you, Howard. Yeah, it was Stanley, according to Rusty's Roamings. Stanley Unwin, if only we could. So we need that's why some of the stuff that I say in the way that I say it is to get past the censors. I mean, look, I on the radio I had to get past the radio authority, so I had to do stuff so that the audience knew what I was talking about, like Foxtrot Oscar. I can say that anywhere, in front of any audience, but you know what it means. And, caring, understanding 90s type. You know exactly what that is. But I'm never going to get banned for it, and I'm not going to get banned in the deep joy, tiddle unmodern. I know, yeah. So they covered up all the money that went missing. And money went missing and gold went missing in Iraq. They've left a whole ton of stuff because poor President Shitty Pants didn't even know what day it was, let alone where he was, let alone what he was going to do with all the military equipment that he was leaving in Iraq and Afghanistan. Billions of dollars worth that the Taliban are now using. Exactly. Howard Clark, been here for 12 months, better late than never. I agree, Howard. Thank you for making comments this evening. I don't comment much as I'm normally working. Stick on the live and drive my truck. Oh, nice, Howard. Nice. The freedom of the road. I'm very jealous. Dave Johnson says, Frankie Howard up Pompeii, cast member Sir Michael Murray Horden was the cast member who would goose the lady bottom with no hands. Whoa, Dave Johnson. Genius, legend. I would not have got that in a month of Sundays. So if you're old enough, you'll remember Frankie Howard up Pompeii, and it was the Sir Michael Murray Horden who was the cast member who would goose the lady bottom with no hands. So he'd walk past and the lady would go, whoo, and he'd go, it's a trick I learned in the army. Very simple gag, but it made, for some unknown reason, it just made me roll with laughter every time. One of Stanley Unwin's best, Tiddler Unmodern. What did it mean, though, Neil? Hilda Baker couldn't stand that ornamental food. God, blimey. Can you remember Hilda Baker? And now, just give me 2 seconds. I will go back to 9/11 and stuff in a second. Arthur Hilda Baker, You're the One That I Want. I mean, it was a comedy record of its time, simply because Greece was so big. But Hilda and Arthur did Top of the Pops. And I remember, as a young guy who was loving all the punk and loving all the edgy stuff on Top of the Pops, Arthur and Hilda doing You're the One That I Want. Mullard, thank you very much, Ray Norton. Terry Wuckfit, Dave Johnson, Les Griffiths. I'm so glad you put me out of my misery, because sometimes this old brain of mine has a fart every now and again. Arthur Mullard and Hilda Baker, You're the One That I Want. Oi, 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 oi. Imagine playing that to when you're waterboarding terrorist prisoners. Have you been, Walter? Have you been? Napoleon blown apart. Oh, I say. Have you been? Maybe we should have sent Hilda Baker. I know she's not alive anymore, but send her across to Joe Biden. Joe, have you been? Have you been? Oh, no. I can... Oh, where's your wife when we need her? Mullard. Hilda Baker, legend, says Darren Donnelly. See, and the comedy that we had in the 70s was so innocent. I mean, it was funny. It was seaside ribaldry, but it was just innocent and gentle. And then the wokerati in the 80s. Some of these comedians that were like, all these dinosaurs need to go. All the youth, they killed comedy in this country. And now we can't even laugh. We're not allowed to laugh. We're not allowed to tell any jokes. No, we're not. Deal Bovril. I must get another hand on this watch. It's like Michael Jackson's bedtime. How do you know when it's bedtime in Michael Jackson's house? The big hand touches the little hand. Marley Grassi, no clue what we're talking about. Not much new there then. Just welcome to the body of the Kirk this evening, Amalia. We were talking about 9/11. We were talking about 7/7, get defended. And we're kind of talking about, because I'm going to go into about libel. We've been going nearly an hour 40. we're just riffing on stuff. And there's over 200 people watching this and only 105 likes. Oh, you tarts. Bloody tough audience. Go on, smash the likes for me. I do it for now. So just smash the likes. So then the algorithm, seemingly, goes, oh, I say, hello, what's going on there? Must be good. Yes, we'll just promote that. But I want to talk about the Chagos Island. Somebody said 350 million. No, it was 35 billion, not 3.5 billion. And I believe that the Prime Minister, his only defence is that's what they put in front of me. Because don't believe that he's written all of his own speeches. Don't believe that he makes any notes. He literally, they go, right, there's your speech, Prime Minister. And he'll go and stand in front of the lectern, in front of the cameras and go, hello, hello. Yes, well, and he'll just present the speech. And then he'll just, walk away. There you go. Off he goes on to his... He doesn't write these at all. And maybe it's a technical term that we do use in radio. It's called reading something blind. So somebody will put, a bit like telly, somebody will put a script in front of you and you just read it blind. If you're any good, you can make it sound as if it's just natural. But it's called reading something blind. So the Chagos Island deal. So he lied. So either he lied or his people lied and got him to lie. It's not 3.5 billion, it's 35 billion pounds. No, the bloody wonder the Chagosians were like, holy Jesus, we've got all this money coming in. Right, you don't have to pay any tax. We're going to take care of everything. It's party because there's not many of us, but we've got to spunk 35 billion pounds. Anybody can do that? And he was saying it was 3.5 billion. So how much is he giving? Because remember, he's the president of this country who can make decisions and decide what to do when he wants to do it. And we have no say in it. What's he doing with all the money that's going to Ukraine? 300 billion over the next 100 years. They can hide away and shite. 300 billion makes the Chagosian Islands seem like a round of drinks. Ray Norton, the bad wolf. Diane Abbott did the maths. Ghetto Defendant says, please share the lives across your social channels. We need to get the word out. Thank you, Ghetto Defendant. Bad Wolf Project to go with the 50 billion black hole. I know. I mean, how big is Rachel from Accounts' black hole? Can't she have it waxed or something? KS reads like a robot. Chagos, unforgivable, says Darren Donnelly. I agree, Darren. I see, it depends. His deniability is, it was a speech that was put in front of me. I just read it out, and then I was at a meeting. So it's his speech writing team that will put it in front of him. And maybe they just moved the decimal point the wrong way to make it 3.5 billion. But it's unforgivable. Unforgivable. So that fan of the Fun Boy 3, or the Four Tops, if you wish, he should come out, and tell us, we got it wrong. But the Labour Party are imploding. The Labour Party are going to get rid of him because on a daily basis, there's stuff hitting the press that they just don't want him in charge anymore. I wanted to mention Jimmy Cranky. Jimmy Cranky has stood on their front step, and said, I'm non-binary. Now, me being a bit of an old boy, I'm looking at it thinking, what the holy is she talking about? We knew. We've all known since the Egyptians. We knew. I mean, she's saying I'm non-binary. It was like David Bowie and Elton John in the early 70s. Oh, I'm binary. I'm bisexual. What does that mean? They pay for it. Bisexual, pay for it. Okay, no, hard audience tonight, man. So we all knew that she kept her clackers in her trousers. So can you remember clackers from the 70s? So she Jackie Glasky, what the fuck? I see you, for fuck's sake. Hang on, have I said something wrong? Bad Wolf Project, 800 billion spaffed on vanity projects. Amalia Grassy, sorry, passed me by. What Frankie Howard incident? So in Up Pompeii that Frankie Howard starred in, there was a particular actor that played a particular character, and every time a female member of the cast would walk past, this actor would keep his hands in the air, and she'd go, whoo, as if somebody had goosed her, and he'd go, it's a trick I learnt in the army. And I just said earlier in the live, I couldn't remember what TV program it was. And I can't even remember who said it, but I'm ever so thankful and grateful for somebody who said, yeah, It was up Bombay. So that's all we were talking about, Malia. Dear Ride Tandem. Yeah. Do you know the piano's on my foot? You want it, son. I'll play it. Scylla was a dragon. Hated Liverpool. Scylla, the bro job queen. Scylla from the cloakroom. Blowjob Scylla. You can say that, but I can't possibly comment. You didn't see me lips move. Tom Harley's, it was the schoolboy outfit that got her all confused. Angelic Inspirations, could not stand Cilla Black either, or Esther Ranson. Oh, don't get me going on Esther. Is she dead yet? I mean, she's got this assisted dying bill, and then she's not being assisted to die. I can't work that one out, to be fair. Marley says, cheers. She was only a cloakroom attendant at the Cavern Club, but did favours, as the Rev said, to get fame. Hello, Andrew. Let the algorithm try and work that one out. I'd rather stick it in the keyhole. Well, Rusty's Rummings, if you were at the Cavern Club, they would have allowed you. Les Griffiths, can you imagine if Cranky and the Stalker procreated? That is not something that I want burnt on the back of my eyeballs, young Les. But, so Jimmy Cranky, getting his clackers out, and she's saying, look, we don't care. We literally don't care. If you want to chew rug, or whether your husband wants to watch, or however your configuration of your marriage goes, then just get on with it. If you're consenting adults, then just get on with it. As far as I'm concerned, I lived and worked in Edinburgh from 2009, and I knew in 2009 who she was and what she was. Everybody knew. So why now? Why is Jimmy Cranky getting his clackers out now? That's the important question. Are you aware of this illegal immigration all collapsing? If you look at Rotherham Council, they're giving benefits. It's called the Rother card, seemingly. So the gimme grants are getting benefits, 50% discounts, water sports, badminton, swimming, gym lessons, gym sessions. And yet, they're getting all of those and more cheaper than the locals, but the pensioners and the vets getting absolutely naff all. I think that's why the whole country is up in arms with this, because this illegal force that's being allowed to come into this country, they're being allowed. Because, as I said to you earlier, with the electronic voting, the Canadian company Smartmatic, and what they're doing, they think that they can fix and rig the next general election. And 2T IKEA, 3G IKEA, queer as in queer as folk, Starmer, they're saying we want 10 years, 2 terms. Harder, weird, shite. You've only had just over 12 months, and look at the state of the bloody country, man. Now remember, the narrative diversion. So they're talking about the gimme grants. But our pensioners and our vets who've defended the country and put into the country are not getting, not a kiss my arse, nothing. And the gimme grants are getting everything thrown at them for free. And I think, if I may be so bold, I think why this country is up in arms about this is because the Great Britain, the United Kingdom, the English, Welsh, Scots and Northern Irish, and the Southern Irish for that matter, we believe, we get really, really annoyed if we are aware of or witness injustice. We believe in honesty and integrity in this sceptred isle. It's one of those values of the Great Britain. Integrity, honesty, and we fight against injustice. And this is going on writ large every single day. Now, the thing that I can't comprehend is Rotherham Council. It's landlocked in Rotherham. How do they get from the French Channel, English Channel, the shipping channel, to Rotherham? Who decides that then? Who's paying for it? Oh, let me guess. My dad worked on the railways with Billy J. Kramer, real name Billy Ashton. Oh, fantastic, Neil. Andrew James, great replacement, all done by design. Even Biden said it's done by purpose. Well, he still thinks he's going to get another ice cream. I mean, how often do they change his nappy? Rusty's Roamings. My missus worked in social housing. Rent paid, 200 quid starter for gas and lecky, clothing grant, furnishings, plus a household item starter grant. That's before you start with benefits. Oy, 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 oy. Sam, who's John Healy? Is that an MP? John Healy is in Rotherham. Charity. 1 iPhone for a gimmick grant, 2 for the charity admin. Jesus. Amalia's saying, that's what leaves me dumbfounded. I can't get why people don't see this. I think we do. But because of what happened around Southport, and that's why, if I may be so bold, the advantage of the Labour government saying that it's all right-wing thugs and we're going to squash that because it's unacceptable means that now people are afraid to say anything that they know to be truth and factual because they're scared of being put inside, in jail. Right, Secretary of Defence. Thank you, Sam. Boats being picked up and taken back to France. Yeah, on video. Yeah, seen all that. Andy, thank you, Alan. And it's this integrity and fairness and injustice of it all. They know that we're going to be very unhappy. I mean, how thick do these moronic people, the parasitical classes, have to be when they know that we're going to be upset, we're not going to be happy, they're spunking all of our taxes. Look, you go out to work and you get taxed. You pay your national insurance, which seemingly was for the NHS, but that's not so anymore because the NHS is virtually private now. But as I told you at the very beginning of this channel, the NHS will be free to use at the point of use. It'll be A&E only. So why do you think these camel shaggers are bringing all their wives and their kids and everybody across here? They get the NHS for free. They get free private dental care for free. They get clothes and homes. They get a better lifestyle here for free. They've got to do absolutely naff all for it. Nothing. Don't have to work. Just have to pitch up. And then when there's a general election, just go, where can I put my ex? Can't read and write. I'm a camel shagger. I can't read and write. I've come from Afghanistan. I was one of your interpreters. Well, we had 40,000 on our books. Interpreters. We've let 250,000 in. So they're getting a better lifestyle in a country they don't really like. But here's the thing. This is near to the end of the live tonight. I wanted to do this at the beginning. But are you aware that 2 of the owners or directors of Asda supermarkets have donated £5 million to build the mosque in the Lake District, where locally there's only 10, 15 Muslims that will use that mosque, but this is massive super mosque being built. And if you shop at Asda, that's where your money's going, to build a mosque in the Lake District. Now this is a Christian country, always has done. Thank you, Stuart, as ever. Thank you. So I don't shop at Asda anyway, but I'm not going to shop there anymore. And there is a movement online to make people aware of this, and they can decide whether they want to shop with Asda or not. As I say, I can only speak for me, and I will make my decision based on my information, and I don't shop there anyway, so I'm not going to. Les Griffith says, most meat is now halal slaughtered. Well, wait till digital ID, and then you won't be able to find real meat. It'll all be factory processed. No, not processed. It'll be fake meat. There's a gag there somewhere. What else was I going to talk about this evening? So thank you for all of your comments tonight. 3D printed. Thank you, Bad Wolf Project. 3D printed meat. It's going to be fake meat. Again, as I say, there's a gag there somewhere. I want to talk about very quickly about Vlad and Volod. So Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky, Sniffy for short. Now, the newspapers today and the reportage today is making it a big deal, is making it a big thing. Well, I've told you ad nauseum, it's not a big deal because I've reported on these lives numerous times that Vlad Putin has always wanted a broker peace. Sniffy, well, some of his own people want him dead, and I wish him long life. I wish him good health. And I hope his hotels in Eilat make him a shit ton of money, because he's going to need it if he wants to buy the missus another Bugatti. And I've always said to you that Russia has only ever wanted Crimea. If they get other bits, if they get some of the Ukrainian bits and pieces in the soil, minerals and stuff, then that's a bonus. But Russia's only ever wanted Crimea for the gas and oil in the Black Sea. So again, if you simplify everything that you read, now I am going to start doing some of the reportage and then reference what the UN are doing and the World Health Organization are doing. But if you look at the Donald wanted Iceland, I think, not the bloody shops on the high street, as in the country, because of all the minerals and wealth and oil and gas under Greenland and Iceland and everywhere up north. It's exactly the same with Russia. They went into Afghanistan to fight the Afghanistanis, the camel shaggers and the Taliban. They went into Afghanistan because they wanted to own Afghanistan so that they could extract the oil and the gas out of the Caspian Sea, as they did straight after 9/11. I believe 9/11 was a setup not only to eviscerate any paperwork or any trace of the trillions of dollars that went missing. I believe that was thus. But they also wanted to get this pipeline out of the Caspian Sea down south through the Tora Bora mountain range. Now, just, for your research over the next few days, just go and look at a world map and look at the Caspian Sea and then look at Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and the warm water port in Pakistan, where they then fill the ships up and they sail, because I was told a figure once that 80% of the world's oil at any point is afloat. So there's tankers everywhere in the world shipping from one to another, and these tankers of oil are being traded numerous times. But that's why Russia, the BRICS, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they don't want to trade in the petrodollar, the dollar. So now Russia only wants the Crimea. So watch the reportage. It's going to kick off. We're all going to go to Alaska, I think is the latest venue. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. But just watch how it's reported in the mainstream media, because they're all lying. I'm not talking about Putin, Sniffy and the Donald. I'm talking about the press. They're just lying. Putin has always been quoted repeatedly. He just wants peace. He just wants Crimea for the gas and the oil in the Black Sea. So the countries that surround the Black Sea is Turkey, Bulgaria, Crimea, Ukraine. Russia just wants the northern part of the Black Sea. Via Crimea, he wants the gas and the oil. Now, it's when Russia starts kicking off with Turkey and or Bulgaria. Bulgaria's little and cuddly. It's mafia-owned Bulgaria. It's just corrupt to the core. I've been there on skiing holidays, and I can tell you some of the stories I've seen. As I've said before, one of the hotels I was staying in at that point, I won't even tell you where, we got there, and the ski instructor that we were meeting, an old friend and old friends that we saw every year in Bulgaria, this particular skiing resort, and we went in, checked into the hotel, and the ski instructor came over and was really, 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 really nervous. And I said to him, what's going on? He said, the manager of this hotel was taken up to the top of the mountain and shot yesterday because the organised crime gangs in the village didn't like the fact that he was making a shit ton of money. All of the money that was coming into that particular resort was going to organised crime gangs. And I went out for a big bastard steak, as it was called then, one night. And we were just sitting there, and you can just tell the OCGs, man. They walk in, they love a bit of leather jacket. They've got obviously stuff. I won't go into any more detail under the leather jacket. But he just walked in and went behind the bar and pulled his drink. And I said to the guy I was sitting with, "Boy's a bit tasty." And he said, "Yeah, he'll be the local gangster. He's coming for his brown envelope." So he just sat there, watched everybody eating, was making sure that the place was doing well, checking out the amount of people eating, and then just got whatever he needed to get and just left. But that was one ski resort, and there were many, many, many. So can you imagine a hotel manager just making far too much money and shagging the staff and then being taken to the top of the mountain? True. Fact. Bad Wolf Project. TDR will increase its stake from 45% to 67.5%, while Mosin keeps 22.5%. As does former owner, the US retailer Walmart, retains its 10% stake. Ooh. Yeah, wasn't one of the brothers, didn't one of the wives of one of the brothers start dancing with another one of the brothers? So there was a divorce and one of the brothers married. It was just complex. But either way, if they're sticking 5 million into a super mosque in the Lake District, for why? So this negotiation is going to happen, Donald, Putin and Sniffy. It's not a big deal. We know what the outcome Russia wants. It's Crimea and the oil and the gas. But where's Wally? Where's Sniffy? Like for months he's disappeared. He was everywhere. Is he now going to wear a suit and tie now that he's negotiating and he's not seen to be a military actor that's on the front line? J.D. Vance is in this country. J.D. Vance, he's gone fishing with Fat Lammy's gastric band. And I saw the picture of Fat Lammy's gastric band thinking, he's lost weight. Have they given him prunes or something? And J.D. Vance has said, with Washington and what's coming over the next couple of days, grab your popcorn, man. Grab it. It's going to be wild. There's going to be, well, presidents indicted and very powerful politicians indicted. And remember the first term, he was going to drain the swamp. It's coming. And J.D. Vance is, I don't know whether J.D. Vance has been to the Cotswolds many times, but my only advice to J.D. Vance, if he's still in the country, is one, make sure you don't go to anybody's house that's got pampas grass outside. And two, if they've got pineapples anywhere, run for the hills, because they're the Cotswold swingers. And there's a shit ton of swinging going on in the Cotswold. Pampas grass is to signify anybody walking past. Oh, pop in. Yeah, we'll have a do. And pineapples, baby, because it's bad enough for bloody Battenberg. So a lot of people are going to be indicted, according to J.D. Vance, for taking part in Obama's treasonous conspiracy coup. Beautiful. Wonderful. Very quickly, I wanted to talk about, and I can't remember, was it Jackie Glasgow? The return of, can you remember Funny Feet, the ice lollies? Now, I know it's a bit warm. I know it's going to be like stinking hot tomorrow. And the day after, it goes down to from 30 odd down to 26 or so. So it's still a bit sweaty. But you are aware that Funny Feet might be making a comeback. I mean, ice lollies. But which was your favourite? I mean, this is an old BBC radio thing. Oh, tell me what your favourite ice lolly was. I mean, now it's so warm. Some of us are melting and losing bits. But they're thinking about bringing Funny Feet back. I haven't seen one of those since easily the 70s. It was discontinued in the 90s. They're also talking about the return of Magnum Infinity. Anybody know what the bloody hell that was? Terry Hookfit. Nothing wrong with swingers. Some of my neighbours have been very welcoming and friendly. Have they got pampas grass outside though? Lord Hookfit. Strawberry Funny Feet. Jackie Glasgow. Yes, I loved them and was miffed when they disappeared. So, nearly 30 years later, there's rumours that they're coming back. Back. Magnum Infinity was a porn star. Very good, I see you. Disaster. I've got funny feet, but I put it down to my age. Yeah, if only. There's they mention in this reportage. I'm not aware of these. The Nestle Extreme Toffee. Calippo shots. What's that for 3-year-olds? Bubbly gum swirl. What the bloody hell is that when it's at home? And rock around the chalk and wibbly wobbly wonder. I've got one of them, but the doctor says he can give me tablets for it. And finally, Esther, I'll keep some of the other stuff for tomorrow night's live, because tomorrow night's live is 7:30 again. And there's other stuff that, as I say, third birthday's coming up. We've got little bits planned. Andrew James, you're utter wrong. Homemade lager ice lollies. I'm round to yours. In this heat, God blimey, I'll eat you out of house and home. Banana splits, love them, Brit 2014. Funny feet, never heard of them. Stuart, try them. If they come back out, try them. You might end up eating a few thousand. Des Ashton, Mivies were the best. Oh, strawberry Mivy, you dirty tart. That's food porn, that. Magnums have shrunk like you wouldn't believe. I know, one by big now, Amalia. I mean, when we were kids, we could make ice lollies last for at least 3 days. Now, 2 bites gone. I don't know whether my gob's bigger or whether it's shrinkflation, I think. Shrinkflation. Tesco is just as bad. No encouragement from managers. And if you are too slow, you are out the door without finding what you are good at. Wow. Snowballs. And from the ice cream van, they used to come around our estate. Oh, man, come on, Adrian. Jesus, I can see it. See, my recall's slowing down because I've been doing more than 2 hours. Oysters. That's it. The oyster shell with ice cream in the middle. Oi, 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 oi. And raspberry ripple ice cream. Now you're talking. So, cheers, Stuart. Zap lollies as well. Dale Steele, you're wrong. I've got a second. Who said that? Angelic inspiration. So many things shrinking these days, Amalia. Angelic inspirations? I have no idea what you mean. Can't be the cold. Snowball. My gran got drunk on them. That's Advocar and Snowball is Advocar and is it lemonade? Frozen jubbly. Ooh, Des Ashton, you're wrong. Right, I'm going to leave it at that. We'll do the space object tomorrow night. It's we've got until, according to Des, we've got until December to panic, because it's going to hit the world. It's going to kill the world. I mean, that's what they want, isn't it? They want us to shit ourselves. And then in 2027, they're just going to go, oh, look, it's aliens. So it's 7 miles in diameter, travelling at 130 miles an hour. Bigger than Mount Everest, 60 kilometres per second. And we're just going to laugh at it, because it'll just circumnavigate this globe. And they'll say, whew, that was a close call. So, thank you for your likes. I mean, I know we've got a couple of hundred people watching. So, if you could get me over 200, please just smash the likes as you leave the body of the Kirk. Thank you to everyone that's been part of the mission this evening. Your mission, should you take it, is to be here between 7:15 and 7:30 Tuesday night. Next live, 217 tomorrow night. I'll keep some of the stuff for tomorrow night, and then I'll find new stuff to entertain and regale you with. But I really enjoyed the 9/11. It just comes out of left field, and then we just talk about it as adults. Look after yourself. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most of all, your indulgence. As I say, thank you to Ghetto Defendant for last night. We're looking for more guests. If you have any suggestions, as Les and others have said, then just let me know, and I'll see what I can do for you. It's down to whether people will do it or not. Thank you to everybody that's taken part this evening. Don't forget, be well, stay safe. Whatever you do, take your Battenberg with you, because you always need emergency supplies. And this is not a show. The Theatre of the Mind lives are a mission, and the mission continues Tuesday night, 7:30. See you tomorrow. Look after yourself.